California, a state that's been a Democratic stronghold for decades. But could there be a chance, even a small one, that Republicans might flip this blue giant red in the upcoming election? Could California, the heart of liberal America, actually be showing signs of turning red? We're looking at some surprising shifts from the 2024 election that have left political analysts talking. Let's break down the data, look at historical trends, the current political climate, and whether the Republican strategy has any real potential to sway the Golden State. Today, we'll dive deep into the numbers, look at county by county data, explore demographic trends, and ask ourselves if a historic Republican win in California is within reach. First, let's set the stage with a bit of history. California hasn't voted Republican in a presidential election since 1988, when George H.W. Bush won the state. Since then, Democrats have dominated here, often winning by comfortable margins. In 2020, California voters decisively supported Joe Biden, with 63.5% casting their ballots for him versus 34.3% for Donald Trump. Fast forward to 2024, and we see Kamala Harris receiving 57.6% of the vote, with Donald Trump making gains, securing 39.8% so far. This shift represents a notable erosion in Democratic support, from nearly 64% to under 58%. So, what's causing this drop, and why are we seeing red gains in traditionally blue counties? Let's break it down by the numbers. 10 of California's 58 counties, which voted for Biden in 2020, have switched to red for Trump in 2024. Counties like Stanislaus, Merced, and Fresno, which went Democratic in 2020, flipped this year, demonstrating a significant regional shift. This trend tells us something vital about voter sentiment in more rural and suburban regions of California, areas that have seen an influx of new residents, changing economic dynamics, and a different stance on key issues like inflation, housing, and public safety. However, this red shift hasn't been uniform across the state. Take the tri-counties of Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito. Although these areas remain blue, they too have seen a dip in Democratic support. For instance, Monterey County's support for the Democratic candidate dropped from 69.5% in 2020 to 64.5% in 2024. Trump's support in the county rose from 28% to some 17%. In Santa Cruz County, we saw a similar trend. Biden won with 78.9% of the vote in 2020, while Harris's support has decreased to 75.2%. Trump, meanwhile, increased his share from 18.6% in 2020 to 21.6% in 2024. San Benito County likewise saw a drop in Democratic support from 61.1% in 2020 to 53.7% this year, while Trump's numbers increased from 36.7% to 44.1%. So, what's driving this movement in these historically blue counties? A variety of factors play a role here, and they're not all unique to California. Firstly, demographics. California has a complex demographic makeup with a significant population of young voters, Latino and Asian American communities, and urban versus rural divides. Generally, urban areas stay Democratic, but rural regions are seeing a shift toward the GOP. These trends reflect broader national shifts, where rural voters increasingly favor Republicans, especially on issues like inflation, crime, and education policies. For instance, in counties like Merced and Fresno, a growing sense of frustration over housing affordability, rising crime rates, and educational standards has caused some voters to reconsider their traditional Democratic loyalties. But California's political landscape isn't just about rural or suburban divides, there's also a significant generational shift. Younger voters who in previous cycles showed high engagement have seen lower turnout levels this year. Combined with a surge in older, more conservative voters who have come out strongly for the GOP, this has tipped the balance in certain areas. Additionally, local issues such as wildfire management, water shortages, and homelessness are top of mind for California voters. The Republican candidates have focused on these topics, presenting strong counter-narratives to Democratic strategies. For example, on homelessness, Trump and his GOP allies argue that Democratic policies have failed to address the crisis effectively. To put things into perspective, even Democratic strongholds like New York and Illinois aren't immune to red shifts in specific areas. While California isn't at immediate risk of flipping red statewide, these red gains in specific counties should serve as a wake-up call for Democrats who may need to recalibrate their strategies to maintain voter loyalty. The numbers from counties like Stanislaus, Merced, and Fresno show that the GOP has found a way to resonate with more moderate and independent voters who might feel alienated by certain progressive policies. Now, here's the big question. Can this red wave grow enough to flip California red in the future? Realistically, the answer is that it would still require an extraordinary shift for Republicans to capture the entire state. California's urban centers, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego, still maintain overwhelming Democratic majorities, and the sheer population numbers there act as a buffer against a full-scale GOP flip. However, Republicans could become more competitive in certain key regions. These small gains in traditionally Democratic counties could have significant effects on future elections, both statewide and nationally. If the GOP manages to capture more House seats, state legislative positions, or even local offices in these regions, it could gradually build a base of influence. So, to answer our question, can Republicans flip California red? Not yet, and not likely in the immediate future, but the data is undeniable. Small but meaningful gains are occurring across the state in traditionally blue regions, hinting at a potential shift in California's political dynamics. The real story here may not be an outright flip, but rather a diversification of the political landscape. California, while still predominantly blue, is beginning to reflect a wider range of voices and viewpoints, a sign of an evolving electorate. For Republicans, this might be an opportunity to build momentum. For Democrats, it could be a wake-up call to address the issues that are pushing certain groups away. Stay tuned as we continue to follow the 2024 election closely. If you enjoyed this analysis, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates on key election trends and insights.